ladies and gentlemen. It is Christmas Eve, 2025. Where did the year go? Wherever it went there fast, that's for damn sure. I feel like we were just shoveling up the snow from the day after New Year's Eve. Yeah, New Year's Day, I guess we would technically call it that now, at this point in our lives. Anyway, Christmas tomorrow. Christmas 2025 tomorrow. It just doesn't seem possible. I remember not too long ago, I was pretty excited about it almost being Thanksgiving, so I could put the tree up that weekend and get the decorations out and do all the fun stuff that you do at Christmas. And now I'm looking at the next week as being the time to take it down already. It has gone so fast. I guess that means I was busy and things are good. Well, today's episode is going to be a roller coaster ride, mostly down at first, maybe a little bit winding back and forth, and then up on the end. I was in my hometown of Alpena recently. I've been there a little bit back and forth with work all last couple of years. Lived there for a bit too, but for some reason, this year is probably the hardest one grief-wise, and I don't have a great reason for that. I don't know what it is. I'm not an expert in that field yet, but as I walk the path of it, I try to learn more and more so I can share it with you good folks. But I'm going to take you on a path of the past and then bring you to future tense and present tense and then take you future if I can. It's been a tough damn Christmas season. And I know why. I know I have plenty of reasons for it to be difficult, but I also have plenty of reasons for it to be good. So here we go. One of the things about grief, and this doesn't even have to be grief about loss. It can be just grief of time passing faster than you want it to. Now it's linear. It's the same. Every second, every tick is the same. It just feels different as you get older. That's for sure. And I can remember Mom and Dad always saying, man, time is really flying. You'd be a kid. You're like, bullshit. It is dragging. I will never be 16. I will never be 18. I'll never be 21. I'm like, boy, was I wrong. I was all those things. Now I'm all those things added together. Eesh. I think what I'm dealing with right now is familiarity with surroundings and complete lack of familiarity with my surroundings. And that'll make sense here as we talk more. But one of the buildings that I work in now with some folks was the old Alpena Mall. And it has been wonderfully repurposed into a manufacturing facility. A really great group of folks bought it and made it that way instead of being empty like you've seen so many other malls. But it's hard. And I can remember the very first time I walked in there, I almost had to leave, and rather quickly, because the smell is the same as it was when I was young. I can remember walking in those doors, the floor is the same, the lighting, the ceiling is the same. The smell, even though it's a manufacturing place, it's still very clean, and it smells the same. And it hit me like a freight train. I have so many good memories in that building with Mom and Dad. Not together at that point, but still separately, and great memories. You walk in the main doors, what used to be the main doors, and there'd be Charbonneau's restaurant, and there'd be the same people in there. And in the old days, I remember people smoking in the restaurant there. And then there'd be Sports World and GNC, and then you get to the corner, and there's where Schifrin. That was the name of the jewelry store, Schifrin Jewelers. And Bridie and Alyssa were there, and they were always gorgeous. But the mall, every store in there has a memory, mostly. And I can remember there was Kotwicki's, that was a clothing store, Circus World, the toy store, Walden Books, my God. Mom used to take us in there and we'd dream, and Heather and I'd get books. And I'd beg for a Dungeons and Dragons new quest and map. And 9 times out of 10, Mom would do what she could to make sure we had all the fun stuff that we wanted. There was the Radio Shack with all the remote control cars. Kmart was at the end. That was where they had a deli, Kmart subs in the deli, popcorn, pretty girls there. And they had all the Casio keyboards that you wanted to play, and it probably drove everybody in that store nuts. Car stereos that you could test and make sure they sounded just right before you put them in your 81 Mercury Lynx. So many good memories. They're gone. The memories are there, but the stores are gone. The people are not there anymore. And it's so difficult because I can remember Dad and I getting ice cream and black cherry and a sugar cone. That's exactly what he got every time. And I would too, because that's what Dad got. and you'd walk to the Hallmark store, and you'd do all these different things. All those stores are gone. Dad's gone, and it hurts like a bitch. South of town, there was a store called Giant Way, and it was a gigantic supermarket, but for the times back then, the left-hand side was a dumb grocery store. I hated that side. But the right-hand side was the hardware and the clothes and the guns and all the fun stuff, the toys. And I remember walking in there, and right when you walked in, there was a vacuum tube testing machine. So some of you guys that are listening to this don't even know what that is. And I'm sure it was a nightmare for my mom and dad to try to get me past it because it had every knob and button and dial that you could ever ask for. And I had to touch it. But all those things are gone. And I don't know if this is what triggered it or not, but there used to be, Alpena used to have two big boy restaurants. The one on the river was the fancy one, of course. Not the new one. The new one is on Ripley Street. That was new, but the one on Ripley, the one by the river was the fancy one. And I can remember Dad and I going there on Fridays. Now here's Dad, young single guy, got his kid. And instead of doing something like getting a babysitter or finding somebody for me to go hang out with, and he could go do whatever he wanted to do on a Friday night, he took his kid, me, to Big Boy for seafood night. And I remember it was $19. And back then it was so much money. It was a seafood buffet. And we'd have crab legs and sit there and talk about the week, and it was so much fun. Well, that Big Boy has been bulldozed, and they're going to do a development, which needs to happen. It sat empty for way too long, but all those memories, gone. Now, I think part of it is Christmastime is when your brain imprints memories pretty heavily because we lean pretty heavy on this time of year. You're with family, your grandparents, your parents, your kids. It's the great music, the beautiful lights, the reason for the season, Christians. And it's an important time of life every year, and we put a lot of emphasis on it. So, of course, those memories really stick with you. I can remember, again, back to the mall. We'd do our Christmas shopping, and I'd beg Dad to let the girls I can't remember who used to do it, but there were the high school girls. I don't know who it was. But there was always a club that would do wrapping. And as a kid, when you see you're young, you see a high school person, like, oh my God, yeah, I want them to wrap the presents. Dad knew how to wrap presents, but he'd indulge once in a while for me. All those things are such core memories, and they're gone. I can't rehash them because the person that I formed them with isn't here to do that with anymore. So how do I explain that to myself? How do I reconcile the pain with the goodness? Because it balances out over time, not instantly. It takes some time. How do I reconcile that? How do I balance this equation? Because everybody knows algebra makes the most sense once you balance the equation. And algebra is easy, right? God, I hated that class. And as I was driving back to Charlevoix, back home, after being in Alpena yesterday, I think I stumbled onto something. And it may be profound. It might be profound for me and sound ridiculous to you, but I think there's two parts of our brain, maybe more than that are really fighting to reconcile and to balance the equation, if you will. There is the emotional side and the logical side. And right now, they're wildly out of balance. The logical side, I know Dad's gone. He is not coming back. The emotional side is still trying to reconcile. Say, why? What? No. I still want all these good memories. I want to make some more. I want more. The logical side just says, what are you doing? It's impossible to have more. It's over. And they're juxtaposed. They just can't get it together. So as I look at all this stuff, as I eat the pain of the loss, you go back to your fundamentals of saying, this wouldn't hurt so bad if things weren't so good. I had a wonderful childhood, beautiful parents. Thank God Mom is still here. I got to see her this fall and had a great time. But you have to go through it. And what did Churchill say? I think the quote was, if you're going through hell, keep going. That's the only way to get to the other side. So yeah, we keep going. We celebrate the fact that we do have these good memories. We embrace them. Maybe we shed a tear. We do whatever it takes. We find our place, our quiet place, and go through it to get to the other side. And also, one of the other key things to do here is add more good memories, because you're not done. You're not done. You got lots of things to do yet. You got a lot of life to live yet. So why not start stacking some more good memories right now? I have a funny one to add from lunch yesterday. I sent a calendar invite to the boss to have lunch. It was his turn to buy, so I wanted to make sure I got that before Christmas. And in my hurry, I typed LUNH. Forgot the C. And, of course, Matt, in his dry wit, said, I can't wait to see what a lun is. It sounds really interesting. I've never been to a Christmas Eve lun. So now we have this ongoing gag. I made a card about it, a fake card my team did in the Industrial Image Group. But it's funny. Now I have that memory, and we made a deal that we're going to do this every year. So now we've got another tradition. How much fun is that? So we start something. If you fill those holes with more good things, you have less time to think about the bad. And I think that's important. Fill the holes. Put more stuff in there, because if you're like me, the older you get, the more shit you forget. So how about imprint some new stuff that's more recent and make that stuff really good? What am I going to do for Christmas Eve dinner tonight? Are you ready? I don't know. I think I'm going to grill some burgers. I was going to do that for dinner tomorrow, but I also have a frozen pizza from Lou Malnati's in Chicago. Deep dish. Totally decadent. I think it says there's 65 million calories in it, so I'll only eat half. And that way I'll just cut it down to 32.5 million calories, and I can burn that off at work on Friday. But I do know this. Tonight I'm going to start a new tradition. I am going to start on Christmas Eve. I will start watching a James Bond movie. Every Christmas Eve now I'm going to watch a James Bond movie. I'll start with Dr. No right at the beginning and work my way to the end. And then hopefully I get to repeat that cycle a million times, because I'd really like to stretch this whole life out a bit, because it's pretty darn good. It's kind of funny. I just noticed that I stopped recording at 12 minutes and 25 seconds. 12:25. Christmas. All right, that's enough out of me. Everybody, if you're having a hard time, that's okay. You're human, and you loved hard. And that is a gift in and of itself. So do the same. Give that gift back to somebody. Make memories of other people. Start new traditions. Fill the holes with good things so that the bad things have no place to roost. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thanks for letting me kind of talk through my own stuff. Hopefully that helped you as well. Have a great Christmas Eve and a great Christmas day tomorrow. Take care.